Hey everyone, another video. Okay, that was weird.
Hey everyone. Big breath.
Welcome back to Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Nope. But this is VTOWhiskey, and today I'm bringing you an episode specifically centered around bottled and bond. So I have 4 whiskeys here today. They're all bottled and bond. So the question is what does bottled and bond mean? So bottled and bond is basically a special set of rules that government made to monitor whiskey and make sure that it was up to the standard quality of what it's supposed to be. So there was a lot of things during, late 1800s where whiskey was being cut with vodka and other things, wood chips, and even formaldehyde was added to try to change the flavor of other things to cut the cost of how to make the whiskey down so they could sell it more expensive. They were never bought as bottles, they were bought in barrels. So the government basically said, hey, we want to make sure that our quality of bourbon and whiskeys are staying as high as possible and people aren't getting hurt by these things. And so they basically made, this set of rules, and it's basically the warehouse has to be a special warehouse that has to have lock and key and monitored and government inspected, and it has to be made in one distilling, it has to be distilled in one distillery in one distilling season, and so bottled and bond is where we are today, and joining me I have Eric again. Hi Eric.
Oh, hello Tom.
And I have Nick with us.
Nicholas.
That
Full
would be,
name.
Yeah, that'd be your full name. So today we're checking out bottled and bond. To start us off, we're actually checking out Evan Williams bottled and bond. Every single bottle and bond will be 100 proof. That is also part of what it basically says. Even this one states bottled under U.S. government supervision. Single distillery. Yeah. So Evan Williams is our first one we're going to be checking out. After that, we have ourselves an Old Grandad. Old Grandad is basically from Old Gurgan.
Old Gurgan.
Okay. Old Grandad is made by Beam Suntory. It's been around for a very long time. We'll check that one out afterwards. And the next one I have is actually one from Chicago, the only non-Kentucky bourbon we have today. It is made by Few Distillery out of Evanston, and this is a 2001 release. This is relatively new, and I don't think they've ever done this before. So we'll check that one out. And then the last one is kind of a rarer bottle, at least recently. It's Henry McKenna 10 years. Not only is this one a bottled and bond, but it's actually a single barrel also. It's should be interesting. This is the most complex out of the bunch, as the fact that it's aged 10 years and it's single barrel and bottled and bond. So I would imagine they probably have a large stock originally, and then they just slowly dwindle it down to the best barrels. And that's got to be pretty difficult for a 10-year, waiting 10 years on that, hoping that it comes out, good. So those are the whiskeys we'll be checking out today. All bourbons, obviously bottled and bond. And, as I mentioned, we're going to be starting off with Evan Williams. So out of all the bottles, this is probably the cheapest at only $18 a bottle. I've actually never had Evan Williams. Have you guys ever had Evan Williams?
I have not. This is Nicholas speaking, by the way.
No.
Not gotten around to it.
They have the 1789. They have quite a few different selections. They just had a new single barrel release that came out. And So this is bottle is semi-reminiscent of a lot of the other square-shaped bottles, specifically the one that comes out of Tennessee. To me, always stands out. Every time I see a square-shaped bottle similar to this, it always reminds me of Jack for some reason. Since 1783, Evan Williams, bottled and bond. I got Kentucky Heritage. Evan Williams set up his distillery on the banks of the Ohio River in 1783 and is historically recognized as Kentucky's first distiller of bourbon. This special bottle and bond bourbon is a genuine sour mash that honors his pioneering heritage. All right. Charcoal filtered. Oh, charcoal filtered. Well, isn't that basically just Jack? So, I wonder if this is going to be comparable to Jack in that sense. Might as well check it out. I have yet to open this one, so. Oh, it's falling apart. Again, this is the cheapest one. So why am I not surprised that twist top? Okay, well, I mean, it's only $18, so hopefully it has some nice flavor to it, all that other stuff. We'll see how it is. By the way, this is the earliest filmed episode. I typically work nights, so I'm usually awake a little later, but I've had little sleep and nothing to eat, and this is going to be a fun morning. Woo! Woo indeed. All right, listen to that bottle pop. Woo! All right, so Evan Williams. Well, hopefully it has a nice flavor profile, and let's give our opinions. Gents, give it a little swirly swirl, let it breathe a little bit. First time opening it, sometimes not all the flavors come out, so give it a nice little swirl. Just like everything that we do here, we tend not to look up any of the tasting notes or any nosings that people have done. We don't like to be influenced by them. We just want to find what we find. We're all kind of novices, relatively new, and we're learning probably like a lot of you. So to everybody that's having a fun little journey with whiskey lately, 2020 really helped find a good reason to drink. And we're just trying to enjoy ourselves and just find something interesting. Oh, good God.
I don't know, it kind of reminds me of Few for some reason.
Ooh, I get cinnamon. Cinnamon. I get cinnamon on the nose. Anybody else getting cinnamon?
Now that you say it, yes.
That was one of the first things I picked up on, and then I just kind of started feeling the almost like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, there is a bit of an ethanol to that. It's not exactly hidden, but there is. Bernie. I mean, $18. I would expect it not to be like super low proof, or not low proof, but super muted. I get brown sugar, cinnamon, and a tiny bit of wood. Not a whole lot on the nose. But that cinnamon really kind of came out. It's not really a spicy cinnamon. It's almost a cinnamon sugar. But it's not bad.
Yeah, that'd be the cinnamon brown sugar that, like you noted.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch almost. Brown sugar, caramel, tiny bit of pepper, wood pepper. A lot of burn.
Yeah, the burn builds.
Yeah,
Towards the end.
And then it just becomes a warm hug on the throat, heading down.
Nice.
It's a warm you up one.
Oh,
Definitely warm you up.
Nice warm in the chest.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for $18, this isn't bad at all.
I'm feeling it just now in the chest.
Yeah, it's a very slowly envelops and just slowly works its way down. It's good. It's good. I mean, I've had worse. Going back to the nose, got a little sweeter. Lost a little bit of the cinnamon. That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's kind of a standard. I have no idea what's going on outside. So yeah, I would for $18, I'd actually say this is pretty good. Honestly, for $18, yes, I'd buy it again, especially if I'm going to like. I'd actually say that'd probably be pretty good for a mixer because of the sweetness of it, and it isn't like. Well, I mean, it might get diluted.
I don't think
Flavor.
it's a bold enough
Yeah,
flavor on its own.
Go back on that. It is sweet, but
it's-
yeah.
It would for $18. Like you go and get $18 thinking you're buying a bottle for mixing. This will be good.
This is more like an everyday sipper, isn't
Yeah,
it?
this is a sip. This is definitely a sipping.
Everyday sipper. This is it's a solid everyday sipper, especially for $18. No hesitation, I'd get it again. Especially if I'm bringing it somewhere where people just enjoy whiskey. If you ever get invited somewhere and you just want to bring something cheap and you don't have deep pockets, people, especially if you don't have any like real whiskey snobs there, or people that are have a little more heft to their wallets. Honestly, people would not turn that down. It's pretty solid, honestly. Moving on to the Old Grandad. So, really cool thing about Old Grandad, it was actually, it's been produced since the 1800s. It was even out during Prohibition, but was made by the American Medical Spirits Company, which is a pharmaceutical company. It's changed ownership a bunch, and it's produced now by Beam Suntory. Old Grandad actually comes in quite a few different proofs. They're 80 proof, and then the 114 besides the bottle and bond version. It's pretty solid though. I've had this before. I actually really like it. Let's
How
see
affordable
it
is it?
Actually, very. It's between $20-25 for a bottle and bond. Pretty solid bourbon. I mean, it's not bad at all. This bottle's unopened. The only other one that I ever got, I brought over to a friend's house, and it was gone on the exact same night that I bought it. So it went over well. None of them are huge whiskey drinkers, but they do like them. I've been getting a lot of people kind of into whiskey lately. Eric, I didn't have to get into whiskey. He was already on that venture on his own. Nick, I dragged into the depths of whiskey.
Yeah, I'm the ultra novice.
Yeah, but it's all good. Little plastic thing. This one actually has a cork. Can you believe it? So let's see if the cork has any tight. Actually, ooh, it's a good sound.
Nice.
I like that one. I like that one. Let's check this one out. So, all right. Color-wise, this is pretty on par, to be honest. It's about the same. Yeah, I guess the Old Grandad is specifically referring to Meredith Basil Hayden Sr. If anybody recognizes that name, there's literally a bourbon out there made by Jim Beam called Basil Hayden. So, that refers to the son of Meredith Basil Hayden Sr. So, ooh, a lot more vanilla. I definitely don't notice any cinnamon. I get vanilla, a little bit cherry, very light on the cherry. Some wood spice. Am I getting more ethanol on this one?
I don't think so.
No, I agree. It's starting to slowly turn into brown sugar. I didn't let this one breathe a whole lot when we bought it the time before. It was just good out of the bottle, solid. Wasn't anything to be upset about. We drank it a little quick. This one actually has a high rye mash bill, so it's actually got a bit more rye. So every one of these is a bourbon, and every one of these contains at least 51% corn. The rest of the mash bills, most of these I believe are rye. I don't know about the Evan Williams or the. It doesn't state anything about the mash bill about Evan Williams.
I thought it said something on the side of it.
It might. Maybe I.
Like on the front of the bottle, like the corner, up and down.
It's just a sour mash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, I don't know what that. On your screen will probably be text me correcting myself.
Nope, not text, just future me correcting myself. So it does turn out that Evan Williams contains rye and malted barley. Yeah.
You lads ready to taste this?
I am.
That's what I came here for.
All right.
Peppery.
Very peppery. A lot sweeter too. It's a lot sweeter.
Yeah, when it first hit the tongue, it was very sweet.
Yeah, and then
I could just feel that pepper.
just creeping. Yeah.
Ooh, this is good. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, it got a bit much. Not in a bad way. It got pretty high up there though. I think the alcohol is a little stronger on this one, to be honest. I think the Evan Williams actually had less alcohol burn to it, but this also has a lot more pepper, which is hard to differentiate between that burn.
So this is just burn on the tongue. There's that pepper in the tongue. I don't feel anything with it going down. I don't get that nice warmth.
Yeah,
I don't feel as much burn on this one.
I was more burn in the mouth, but nowhere near as much.
Going down, nothing.
Absolutely.
Rub on the tongue.
It was
really feel it.
lively.
It's
lively. A lot sweeter though. Is a lot sweeter.
choked a little there.
Eric forgot how to drink. Decided to breathe at the same time.
Happens sometimes.
Second going around, it's brown sugar. Lots of barrel. That is one thing that this one had a lot more of than the Evan Williams, is actually the barrel spice. We get the pepper, which comes from the barrel flavor, but just in general, the oakiness of this is a lot stronger. And if I've stated this in prior videos, I actually tend to like the flavor of the oak. So this actually is, for me personally, I personally like this just a smidge better. Nothing to knock on the Evan Williams, because that was actually good. I did like the whole cinnamon aspect of it.
I actually like the Evan Williams better.
Yeah?
Just a little bit, man.
I mean, honestly, I don't think you can go
person.
wrong. No, every opinion is valid. There's no wrong answer here.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the Evans.
Evan Williams?
I like this.
Yeah.
The place is sweet, it's peppery. After that last sip, I do get a little bit. I can feel a little bit in the chest now.
Yeah.
But it.
This is, for me, I lean on the old granddad because I like the wood, but I definitely see where you guys are coming from with the Evan Williams. I think that cinnamon, it never comes to a spicy cinnamon. It's more of like a cinnamon sugar. It's really nice, actually. It's really nice. Yeah. That's old granddad. Next one we'll be moving to is one of mine and Nick's personal favorites. We have a small bit of history with this one. The first bottle of few I ever bought, me and Nick actually went to a place near us called Binny's, and I picked up some few, and we tried it that night, and it was honestly something. I just really liked it. We ended up going on a distillery tour. It was a lot of fun. Went out to Evanston. They have basically what is essentially like a speakeasy in a way. Everything they have is in a back alley. I'll probably be showing you some pictures of this stuff. It's pretty cool. It was a great place. That's where I tried this actually, and they have a lot of other things from gin and yeah, cool place. Nick, you want to tell them about the bottle?
So, if you look at the bottle, it kind of looks like a bicycle card box thing
Yeah,
with like a deck of cards. And that's because during the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, that birthed the bicycle cards. And I am not prepared for this.
Well, either way, I mean, we know this stuff, but the 1983 World's Fair.
1893.
Yeah.
The 1893 World's Fair preceded the U.S. Bottle and Bond Act by 4 years. This whiskey is bottled under the strict rule of the Act, essentially America's first consumer protection law and guarantee of quality. Bottled at 50% alcohol by volume, distilled in the same season at few, and aged a minimum of 4 years in American oak in a federally bonded warehouse. Few Bottled and Bond Bourbon features the beloved spice of Few Straight Bourbon with cherry, smoked vanilla, oak, and caramel undertones.
Yeah. So this is Few Distillery.
It's one of the few whiskeys that I own.
And gins.
And gin.
You got a barrel-aged gin from them because it was actually really good.
It smells like bubblegum.
It does, and it tastes like bubblegum a little bit too. Yeah, but this is the bottled in bond version of Few. So Few's typically at a 93 proof, which has to do with the World's Fair.
1893.
Yeah, the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. This is one of their higher offerings. It's made with, I believe, northern rye. It's got a little bit of a spicier element to it. It's always been good to me. So we're gonna give this one a try. Get that top that's incredibly tight on there. All right. Wow. Okay. It's like, how do I do this without spilling? Because I do that enough on my own. I don't need it to be assisted by the bottle not wanting to let go. And that. This is definitely darker than the others. This is definitely darker than the others. All right. Few bottled in bond.
This is actually the bottle that you got at the distillery, right?
No.
Okay.
I ended up not getting one.
Oh.
I ended up passing on that. Wish they had like a single barrel or a barrel proof. That would be really amazing and something I'd definitely go after. But this one is a bottled in bond.
And who's
50?
that on the bottle? Is it this Lady Liberty, or that's not her name?
I can't remember who that
Something.
is.
It's like a statue from the World's Fair.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of their depictions on the front of the card, or the front of the label is from reference from the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. Oh, and Few is reportedly stands for Frances Evelyn Willard, which was one of the.
It's an acronym.
Yeah, she was one of the main proponents for Prohibition. So to honor her trying to get rid of liquor in the United States, they named a liquor after her, or the liquor company. Yeah,
Put her name right on the bottle.
That's how you spell irony.
Yeah, FEW. Some irony. I'm not getting any ethanol in this one entirely.
I got a little, but that's because I went in too deep. Start.
Yeah,
I just plunged.
I get a lot of like caraway seed. I weirdly get brown sugar, caraway seed.
And what is caraway seed?
So that's gotta be what
the
I'm
seeds-
smelling that I can't name.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
Caraway seed's typically what you find in like rye bread or
yes.
like Italian sausage will sometimes have
Oh.
caraway seed. I love that because it gives a
Yeah.
little spicy little bite. Brown sugar, caramel. Not really any vanilla. No cherry. Actually, no, a hint of cherry. Caraway seed. I get this almost bright herbal quality to it. It's good though. It's sweet but not overpowering. There's a bit of spices in here. It's got quite a bit of a oiliness to it. Higher proof will have that because they didn't cut as much of it with water. All right. You lads and lasses ready to try this one?
Yes.
It's got a good color, by the way. Nice color. Yeah. All right. Came at me like it was gonna burn, and then it just faded immediately. It was like, I'm gonna. This is nice.
I had the same experience.
Yeah, it comes out, and then it's like, nah.
You get the tingling like it's about to just bite, and then it just like
It teases you. Just a little tease.
this wash of. I do get the caraway seed, baking spices. You know what's funny? Is the taste I'm getting reminds me of the smell from the distillery itself,
Oh yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It like
Brings back memories.
it does. It brings back memories. Brings back memories. Yeah. That's good though. That is
Old
really
factory.
good. A lot of tingly, like going to burn really bad, but never really does. Kind of reminds me of a caraway seed in a way. Bit of pepper, some oak on the back end, but it's maybe not oak. I would just say wood. It's not really an oaky flavor, is it?
It's woody, but
Yeah, not necessarily oak.
couldn't.
Pinpoint what kind of wood. It's a lighter wood.
Definitely, you expect an oak out of
No, a bourbon.
a bourbon.
It's a lighter oak though. Or not a lighter oak, but a lighter wood. I don't know what wood. I'm not very versed in wood.
Neither am I.
But this is good. Second go around, it never gives me the warm hug that the others did. I mean, these are exact same ABV, and it's a different experience on that. You can tell that this is a lot higher quality, a lot more controlled environment. Man, that's different than the other two by a lot. By a lot.
Each one's been different from each other.
Yeah, honestly, they have.
I mean,
The other two feel like they're closer in spectrum to this one. This one's kind of on the other end.
no, this is by far like totally different than those two.
Yeah,
While those two are still
close
uniquely-
but definitely different.
They're
Yeah.
definitely unique. You can tell them apart easily.
Yeah,
But this is
this is on another planet. Not exactly, because it's still talking about a bourbon, so it does have the same relative sweetness. Got the wood, got a lot of the notes. But the notes are finely tuned in weird ways that you wouldn't expect. I'd like to blame maybe the northern rye, which is a thing that they talk about consistently. Yeah. Yeah, we saw the, oh, now that I'm actually, cherry, smoked vanilla, oak, and caramel undertones. I got caraway seeds, so I don't know what it's talking about, but, you know. That was seriously good, though. That is, for me personally, that's the front runner now. Personally.
Best one so far, yes.
Oh, okay. Got one person that agrees with me finally. I guess that.
I gotta. No, it.
Few.
I did enjoy the other two,
Mm-hmm.
but this, it just set itself apart from the other two. That might be why I
Yeah.
prefer it over the other two right now.
In the long
I
term,
just-
who knows? But
But it's
yeah,
definitely
interesting, to say the least. Oh, and by the way, this one is actually priced at about $45 a bottle, $50, somewhere in that range. Depends on. I'm sure if you get it outside of our region, which is literally where it's made, it's probably going to cost a little more. But I personally would pay that. I'm okay with that. But I'm also crazy. This one, on the other hand, is inflated pretty significantly. I guess this used to be a lot cheaper back in the day, like $50-$40, but in recent times has jumped all the way up to $70 MSRP or much higher. Actually, I got it $60, but I kind of got lucky with it. I've seen it on certain websites for upwards of $100 or more, which is kind of a lot. So we'll see if it's worth it. It's hard to find, but it is also the most complicated of the bunch, being that it is aged 10 years and single barrel and bottled in bond. This one was barreled on June 21st, 2011. For, barrel number 11117. Almost Sierra 117, aka John. Sorry, Halo I've been playing lately. This is Henry McKenna.
I was
So-
20 years old. 2011. June.
So Henry McKenna is owned by Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill is the one that makes Elijah Craig, one of my other personal favorites. That just because it comes from the same distillery does not mean that it's going to be even remotely similar. This 10-year-old single barrel is one-of-a-kind bourbon and one of the few bottle and bond products available. Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot of bottle and bond, just because it's kind of a pain to do. There's a lot of setting up. You have to have a lot of stuff. But yeah, so some little pamphlet it's got for reading.
You're supposed to read pamphlets? You can read pamphlets?
You can indeed.
You can
and
read.
I will read this one.
In 1837, a young man from Ireland known for his remarkable whiskey-making skills came to America with his family's whiskey recipe that he had been passed down for generations. Young Mr. McKenna settled in Kentucky and discovered the uniquely American drink known as bourbon. McKenna instantly took a liking to Kentucky. Please turn to the next page.
You book smart. I
Maybe?
gotta read.
No promises?
Whiskey, and set out to create a better bourbon using his family's recipe. To ensure the highest quality, he insisted that his bourbon age in oak barrels before bottling. From this process, highly unusual for the time, emerged a remarkably smooth bourbon, boasting a distinctive character.
Yeah.
The end.
What's new at Heaven Hill Distillery? All that jazz. All right. As you can tell, it also on the neck it has basically a homage to the $100 bill, U.S. currency.
Ben Franklin.
1855 established. Interesting. And I think it's time to open. I'm just gonna keep that. $100. You jackwagon. Jackwagon from Wagon Jack and Jill, and maybe I can. Aha! Okay. Well, cool. And then, wow, this is the. I think it's probably meant to keep that little thing that Eric stole. Let's see if this has an interesting pop at all.
That was good.
Oh, that wasn't bad. It was kind of loose though compared to. Oh, I like the squeak though. Reminds me of a lot of scotches. Cool. All right. I'm expecting this to definitely be the darkest of the bunch, but then again, oh my God, I'm confident. My confidence is slowly.
When you get more than
Crap
an hour,
baskets.
Commit to it.
You got more than an hour of sleep.
Well, that would require me to
Plan ahead.
have time. Plan ahead. I wish. Coolio. All right. So that is our bottle. Thank you, Nick, for the assist. Get off the set. Whoa. Hello. Another different beast. Closer to the first two, certainly. But I got something I didn't get in the first two very much.
I don't know, I'm getting ethanol.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel that.
More so than the
Yeah.
few, at least.
But if you didn't have,
Actually, no. I'm not getting a whole lot of that, to be honest.
yeah, I'm not.
When you breathe in, quick tip: breathe in through your nose.
Pro tip.
Don't stick your nose in too deep, and keep your mouth open. If you keep your mouth open, somehow it circumvents the. Anyway, cherry. I get the cherry note on this one. I get extremely light on the others, but this one's a lot stronger on cherry. I get cherry vanilla. Not so much caramel, not so much brown sugar. But I get cherry vanilla, a little bit of wood. If I had to say, definitely more so cherry than the others. And it's not maraschino, like it's candied or overly sweet. It's just a solid cherry, classic cherry that you would think of.
Not the artificial flavoring.
Definitely not the
Smell it,
artificial, yeah.
But like,
And it's not a maraschino. It's not like a Rainier where it's like extra sweet cherry, which Rainier cherries are spectacular. But this is good smell. I could actually live in this glass. It's fruity almost, just at least in the sense of a cherry. But
yeah, this is the cherry.
And from the smell, I'm expecting this one to be the best one yet for today.
I mean, I really like the few. It's going to be hard to top it, but I was hoping that this one would be a disappointment and not worth searching for again. Or I could drink more of it. But let's face it, it's going to sit in my little liquor section for a little bit, most likely. There are whiskeys that... the first one that comes to mind is Macallan, which is a Scotch. The nose is stellar, supposedly. Unfortunately, I've never tried it, but most people that try it say the flavor is certainly a letdown from the nose, but it's still fantastic. And Macallan is extremely coveted.
Yeah.
So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's go for it. A little more burn than the few, but not a crazy amount. But it's lingering. A light burn that's lingering.
Hangs on for a bit.
Flavor's there for a while too.
But it's not overpowering.
No, It is a little more muted than the smell, but it is extremely good. That is extremely good. I got
First impressions is yes, it does beat the few for today.
For you, beats
Yeah.
a few.
Not by much, but yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it starts off on the flavor. It's kind of like it's kind of a cooling feeling on the mouth. The mouthfeel is very cool, little dense, oily. I get cool cherry, and then it just immediately, there's an eruption of pepper and a little bit of alcohol burn just tingling throughout, and it just goes into a vanilla, almost a look of cream on the end, weirdly, but not quite.
No, I get what you're going with. Everything, it's definitely got a lot more going on than the last three,
Yeah.
but it's all fairly muted. But then there's certain key notes that have their moment.
Yeah.
Like at first you don't like, not a lot, like you kind of get a little bit of everything going all at once.
Yeah.
You can feel like up front I noticed the cherry
Yeah.
gets a little peppery, and then going down it's like you said, like a cream, almost like molasses.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
can see.
heavy.
Yeah. I
Like
can see that.
it's heavier, fairly sweet. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
This I like.
Well, it's fantastic.
And this was what,
So-
$60?
For
what
me,
you-
$60
what you
bucks.
found it at,
It's a struggle to find it at that price point. I highly recommend if you find it at $60, it is worth having in your collection. I personally think so.
It's
Yeah.
worth $60. Yeah.
Obviously, this is one you're not going to drink every day. This is going to be closer to a once a week or once every couple months, like celebratory type thing, or one time when you just really need, hey, you know what? I'm looking for something interesting. I just want something special today. This is it. It's not. No, don't get me wrong. There are certainly better whiskeys than this, better bourbons than this. I would say it, like, the volume, so if we talk about all of these, Evan Williams' volume gets to about a 7, never really becomes overpowering in flavor. For me personally, the Old Grandad probably hits about an 8, barely a little bit above the Evan Williams, but I think its sweetness is very rich, so it kind of comes a little higher. The Few probably hits about a 9 or a 10 on flavor, like strength, or just the volume. I would say it hit maybe an 8 or 9. Maybe I was a little overzealous on saying the 10. This hits a solid 8 the entire time. Doesn't quite get anywhere super high, but it's just a solid flavor. But as you pointed out, every one of the notes kind of come out in a journey in a way,
Yeah, everything
and they're good.
everything seems to have its moment.
Yeah. Barrel spice is nice. I would say it's a little. I think the least burny of the Few was the Few.
Yeah, definitely.
Few.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But the least burny of the bunch was the Few. Yeah. No, this is definitely good though. It's a 10-year. I mean, even if you try this and it ends up being a little less than what you would like, this is one you can break out in a like a crowd to celebrate and be like, hey, here's a small little nip of this. This is something interesting, a little more exclusive in a sense. Obviously, this is a single barrel, so they will differ pretty significantly. This is an extremely balanced one. Typically, when you get single barrels will have a set of flavor profile that will be pretty strong on one particular thing or another. I mean, the nose it was definitely more cherry than any of the others, but the flavor profile was a lot more balanced and gave way to taste each individual component separately which is something you typically don't find from single barrels. That's usually a blended whiskey. So if you find Sierra 117, I would recommend getting that particular single barrel. It's surprisingly balanced and very good. But yeah, it's been a fun little journey checking out Bottled and Bond. It's kind of weird how you can get everything being the exact same proof and every one of them being completely different in the way that they attack you with the alcohol level. Some of them were very little and some were a little harsher than others. But honestly, every one of these I would certainly recommend if you're a whiskey person. First two, everyday sippers. And the next two,
a little more time in between each sitting, but yeah.
Yeah, they're
I've enjoyed all four of these. Like what you said, with the way that each one presents like that alcohol to you. They're all at 100 proof, but none of them, you didn't feel that 100 proof the same from bottle to bottle.
Yeah. I would say the most aggressive were the Evan Williams and the old Granddad, but being an everyday sipper, everyone enjoys them differently. Sometimes they put them with ice, sometimes they water them down. You can water these down and you'll probably get a slightly different flavor profile. We could have done that, but it's early and I haven't eaten and I don't want to completely ruin my day. This is early drinking, so that means I'm not going to touch a drop for the remainder of the day. Otherwise, it would be a dangerous game to play. But
nothing wrong with day drinking. Especially when you have responsibilities to do afterwards.
Yeah.
And you go into it half-assed because you've been drinking all morning.
Yeah. I don't recommend it, but if it happens, hey. So, Nick, what's your order? Favorite to least favorite out of this bunch?
Number 1, McKenna. Number 2, Few. Number 3, Evan Williams.
Oh, you.
And the 4th, Old Granddad. I like all of these, by the way.
You did like them. Yeah.
But that's the order I would put it in.
I would certainly agree. Minus the last two, I'd flip them. Eric, you on the exact same boat as him?
Yeah, I'm with Nick.
Alright, don't blame you guys.
Few.
Few was
Williams.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a fun little journey. You guys should check out some Bottle and Bonds. If you guys find any Bottle and Bonds that you particularly enjoy, especially if you've had some of these and you can compare them to them, feel free to leave a comment. If there's one that you think I should check out, again, leave a comment. I'd love to check it out. These things are beautiful in their own way, and does anybody have anything left to leave us with? Anything interesting?
I might have something. So in the first video I was in, I shared a song, if you remember. In the second video I was in, I shared a story. And we're going to continue the alliteration with a show. The show's called Space Dandy. And although it's well received and there's a lot of people are into it, I feel like it needs more. So I'm gonna.
There's not a big enough audience.
So of the 4 episodes that I've seen,
How many episodes are there, Nick?
Maybe 26.
Okay, you're early on, but yes, apparently
but of the
it
4
really
episodes that
hooked
I've
them.
seen, I can tell that's a special show, and I implore you to look into it.
You heard it. Space
Hulu.
Dandy.
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Okay. Space Dandy it is. For VTO Whiskey, I'm Tom, Eric, Nick. We're going to see you later. Guys, drink up, stay safe, and enjoy.